I think they call for you to flip that line every week. And I guess we should probably explain to people who don't know what that means. But that means usually you're just taking off the top and you're taking off the top of the line. And then like when you get really low, especially in a rush or something, you're filling that up and you're not really touching the bottom. So usually there's like a line, like a little line on the bottom of each of these bins of food that hasn't been touched in like a week or two or whatever. And so you're supposed to flip those lines by, basically taking them out and making sure that you take all those bins that had in there, you take them back, you get them washed, you put brand new bins and put new shit in there. But I will tell you that most places that I worked at didn't do it once a week. When I worked at the Philly shop, because you're supposed to change your fryer oil at once a week, there would be months we would go without changing the fryer oil. Now, there's actually a lot of people that I've talked to who like fried, like they just love like fried stuff, and they say that the longer the oil's in there, the better it tastes. But still, you're supposed to do, and we didn't do that,
Yeah.
and that was it's and grease traps. You know about a grease trap, right? Really quick, let's tell everybody about grease traps, which is basically like, everything that you wash in a big fucking industrial type sink. There's so much grease going down there, and then there's a trap usually underneath that sink that catches all that grease. Well, that trap's got to be cleaned out, and there's usually like a fucking grate that you take out. And usually we would just have one of us would have to do it, but sometimes you got to get a professional to come in and do it. But when you open that thing, it's like I guess the best way to describe it for people is if they've ever been around or if they've ever had to get their sewage tank pumped, or if they were around somebody who had to get their sewage tank pumped. Because it's kind of like that. It's kind of like sewage. There's not shit in there, but there's a lot of gross shit in there that's going to start smelling. And,
Yeah.
there's been times where we waited a long time. But the worst part about that and working in the mall food court is no matter what, anytime somebody was doing that, it just reeked down the corridors. You could smell it, from whoever was doing it or getting it done. So that's another kind of tip for people is that it can be pretty gross back there.